Hello Internet! Today we've got something a bit different, something hopefully you'll find quite interesting. I'm going to talk to you about the London International Championship, my run and all that lot. And then finally I'm going to be showing you my my VGC 17 team, I suppose, my SMEARGLE XURKITREE team, which is, I don't know, I think it's quite good. We'll look into it really properly in a bit though. First of all, I'm just going to quickly introduce someone who is with me, though. I do have Mr. Rob ApplePieVGC with me, so hello, ApplePie.
Hi, how are you doing?
His appearance in this video will become more apparent later on, but I'm just going to talk to you about London first then. So, going into the tournament, I was, I think, 10th in Europe in championship points, so I was thinking, a decent finish, and, maybe I'll get into the top 8 or whatever for Australia, but I just wanted to get some championship points. The tournament itself didn't go to plan, I suppose. I lost my first round to two bad sleep rolls, basically, unfortunately. After winning the first game in the set, I lost my round 3 to... Oh, that was my worst matchup, that as well. That was Whimsicott, Nature Power Whimsicott, which I hate. Do you find Nature Power Whimsicott to be a real pain?
Oh yeah, I faced that once as well. But when I faced it, the lucky thing was that Nature Power Whimsicott was the only thing next to Coco that outsped my XURKITREE. So
Okay.
I don't know, like if I could just protect it well, then it was fine for me.
So at least I'm not the only one that's.
Yeah. There was one moment though that I had to switch out my +4 XURKITREE into my Arcanine just to make sure that something else would take the Z Nature Power.
Yeah, just to waste it off them.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not the only one that struggles with that then, thank goodness. But
No.
yeah, I mean, I won the first game in that set as well. But anyway, so I lost round 1, I lost round 3, and then I lost. I think it was round 5. And I think the third loss, I can't really remember it now, but that's the one that I had least to complain about. My opponent just made the better moves, I think. But overall, I finished 6-3, which after starting so badly, I was very happy with, because that did mean basically I got 100 championship points, which is a decent chunk either way you look at it. So I think after all the points from the tournament goes through, I think I'm going to be about sort of 16th or 17th in Europe, so that's not too bad. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But yeah, I mean, the tournament was run perfectly. Really, there were no real delays. It went very smoothly. So aside from issues, people registering and all that lot of stuff, all that stuff which we're not going to talk about, it was ran really well, I thought. But let's get into this teams, because for quite a while I've been using this team, and quite a while there's been people asking me for the spreads and the team and all the rest of it. You might have guessed by now, but ApplePie used my team. I say my team. He made some changes to the team as well. But first, we're going to look at my team, and then we're going to look at the changes that he made. Because do you want to say how well you did in the tournament?
Yeah, so I went 7-2 the first day. So I made day 2, so I was pretty happy with that. Day 2 didn't go as well as I'd hoped. I had one bad matchup that was kind of unwinnable. It was Bulldoze Arcanine, Taunt Mandibus, Garchomp, and Haze Fini, non-specs Haze Fini. That was really tough. So I didn't mind losing to that. And yeah, my other loss, that was just I was at a position where I had to either make a really risky play or guess that a Moonblast would kill his Garchomp, and he was a really bulky Garchomp, so
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing.
Can't really complain too much, but
yeah. That's one thing I'm going to talk about when we get onto the delay. But yeah, so it's amusing that you did better with my team than I did. Kind of embarrassing, but I don't know. Like I tend to use the same team like over and over again, which has its advantages. Obviously, I know the team inside out and all the rest of it, but I kind of feel like, just as a side note, I kind of feel with this team a little bit how I felt with the Gravity team in 16, in that I used it over and over again, like so many times. I'd basically gone into sort of autopilot any time I played a game with it, so I didn't really think moves through. I just sort of thought, okay, this is what I should do, and just did it without thinking, sort of thing. So like ups and downs to using the same team forever, but yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with my points. How many points did you get?
I got 160, so yeah, pretty happy with it as well. I think I'm exactly one spot beneath you. I think I'm number 18. I think at the moment. I think you're number 17.
Okay,
So yeah, it's kind of funny.
so yeah, well,
But yeah, I think it's a really great team. It's really fun to use as well.
oh, it's definitely fun. But let's have a look at it. So we've got the two teams in here. We're gonna have a look at mine first. So yeah, we can see this, can't we? Okay, so this is my team. So yeah, and this is the first time you've seen my spreads as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is the first time Rob's seen my spreads. This is going to be the first time I'm seeing his spreads as well. So we're purposefully sort of kept ourselves away from each other's team just for this moment in time, really. In fact, that is not correct. Why is my Drifblim? Okay, so let's just change this around because my computer has decided to mess up my EV spreads. So let's make sure that this is correct.
It's always annoying.
Just going to import it again from a different browser. Right. Yeah, so this is my team, isn't it? There we go. That looks more like it. I think it was the Drifblim that was messed up. I was like,
yeah,
that was weird.
I thought it looked weird. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. All right then. So so the rest of the interesting looking spreads are actually intentional, but I mean, I don't know. Let's talk about how I put this team together first, I guess. I mean, last year I used SMEARGLE and Xerneas, quite well. I got top 8 at the World Championships and everything. So after seeing Dan Erstekin, Necrocat, use XURKITREE, and I think he used it with SMEARGLE as well in the, I think it was the Sheffield regional.
Yeah, that was the Sheffield.
I thought, right, I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna start using that. But his was very slow. He had like a Trick Room team with Porygon Z, I think, as well. I thought, I'm going to go fast. I've got to, really. And so I started building the team around it. So I've got SMEARGLE, I've got XURKITREE. I wanted Tapu Lele as well. I didn't want Bulu, but I wanted Tapu Lele just to have some kind of terrain control so that I could spore things, get rid of Misty Terrain and Electric Terrain and all of that. But also, I wanted something that could outspeed and one-shot Garchomp as well, which is obviously probably the biggest issue for XURKITREE, in this format. So having one Pokemon that could do both of those things, I thought was nice to combine them. So Scarflele with a Moonblast, we were just talking about that bulky Garchomp. It is like maybe months ago you could sort of rely on a Moonblast to outspeed and one-shot Garchomp, but these days Garchomp are maybe a bit bulkier and Moonblast is not so reliable. So I don't know. That's something that might have changed. But anyway, we've got SMEARGLE, we've got XURKITREE down here. XURKITREE, I went with Citrus Berry actually. I think I know what you used. I think I did stalk you on Showdown. I think it was you anyway, so I think I know what you used. But I went with Citrus Berry just because this is very fast XURKITREE. It's not incredibly bulky, so I felt Citrus Berry I'd be able to activate a lot more reliably than a 50% Pinch Berry. Also, Citrus Berry, it's if I protect on a Tectonic Rage, it normally does about sort of 55%, so that's a nice activation for the Citrus Berry. And so many times when like opponents are just trying to whittle away at XURKITREE with like Muddy Waters or Flare Blitzes or things like that, and Citrus Berry just makes it like a 3-hit KO instead of a 2-hit KO or something similar like that. I have thought about other items. I think Jamie Boyd used a similar team to this in a few tournaments as well. I think one of them he used Adrenaline Orb on XURKITREE as well, which I thought could be interesting, but I decided to stick with Citrus Berry in the end there. But just emulating the Xerneas really with Tail Glow, Dazzling Gleam, and Thunderbolt Dazzling Gleam for the Garchomps and all the rest of it too. So no surprises so far. Arcanine was the 4th member of the team, so started off with SMEARGLE, Lele, XURKITREE, and Arcanine. This Arcanine, I actually, like, at the beginning of the format, I wasn't sold on the Fire Z move on Arcanine at all, but with how the team was sort of coming about, I felt that it was maybe going to be a little bit weak to Tapu Lele, to other Tapu Lele. So I wanted this Arcanine to have a way to essentially one-shot them, pretty much. So I am jolly with this Arcanine, which is almost unseen, as far as I know, really. Not many people go jolly on their Arcanine. And it's got the Fire Z move as well. So if it's not a Scarfed, or maybe Timid, Tapu Lele, this Arcanine will be going first. And most of the time it'll one-shot, or maybe with a little bit of chip damage, it'll one-shot with Fire Z move as well. But also it helps with Celesteela if they've got Lightning Rods and all that sort of stuff as well. Flare Blitz, Protect, obvious moves. Bulldoze, I thought, was a really, really nice choice on this because XURKITREE isn't the fastest. It's base 83. So having some kind of speed control, a pseudo icy wind, I suppose, like that you've got to protect next to, is kind of cool. Also helps in mirrors, I suppose, against other Arcanines and stuff. Extreme speed is something that I thought maybe could have been handy, but I have got Tapu Lele on this team, and I didn't really want the conflict of interests there, I guess. I didn't want to be thinking, oh, well, I wish I didn't have Psychic Train up and all the rest of it. So Helping Hand, I think, is another fantastic move which goes very well on this team. It does work with Scarf Tapu Lele very well, I think, because it means that if they've got the Electric Terrain up, for example, with a Tapu Koko, I can still, unless it's a bulky Tapu Koko or Assault Vest, I can still outspeed and one-shot with a Helping Hand, Moonblast, or Helping Hand Psychic, which I think is really nice. Helping Hand means that, XURKITREE at +3, Helping Hand could potentially one-shot Porygon 2, and it makes a lot of really nice calculations doable. So I really like Helping Hand on this. But the last two Pokemon, Kartana and Drifblim, are two that I guess were added last. Or were they? I did actually have Trevenant on this Kartana slot a while back. Did you see those videos I did on YouTube?
Yeah.
Ages ago, yeah.
I think you had a Milotic as well at some point, if I remember correctly.
You what? Sorry.
I think you also had a Milotic at some point.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on the Drifblim slot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, with I think that had the Adrenaline Orb on it. Just because Arcanine were being a little bit annoying as well. But yeah, I mean, Trevenant was cool. Milotic, not so cool really. I ended up with these two. I knew I wanted a Grass type, and I did want something that was faster than Garchomp as well, because I mean, Garchomp was okay, Tapu Lele, Scarfed and everything, but still Garchomp is going to be a big threat to XURKITREE and Arcanine and all the rest of it too. So I wanted something else that could help a little bit with Garchomp. Kartana is faster, does threaten with Leaf Blade, although Tectonic Rage has, I think with my EV spread, I think it's exactly 50-50 if a Tectonic Rage one-shots it or not. Not 100% on that though. Sword Stance works quite well as well. I don't know. I like my setup Pokemon, as you can probably tell. And Sword Stance, I think, works very well on Kartana, because if you get the Sword Stance up, you're threatening almost anything. Like, Arcanine is the go-to switch for Kartana, for the opponent. So if you Sword Stance as they switch the Arcanine in, you're still going to be at +1 after their Intimidate. And with the Fighting Z move and all that pummeling, pretty much all the time, one-shots almost any Arcanine, really. So I liked that combination. Leaf Blade helps with things like, Kartana is vital for things like Mudsdale, but also helps with Gigalith as well, which was very big sort of in the middle of the format. But Drifblim was sort of added, I think it was added last, or added second to last. But it's funny because a few people this weekend said, or came up to me and asked, are you using the Lele Drifblim team? And I'm thinking, well, it's not really a Lele Drifblim team. I've got both of them on here, but Drifblim was literally just a sort of a last addition to the team, just to fill a few slots. It's something that can hit Marowak, which would otherwise be a massive problem for the team. It does work with Lele, obviously, because I can get the Unburden boost too. And without Drifblim, if the opponent gets a Tailwind up, then this just loses. It straight up just loses to opposing teams sweeping, basically. So I needed some options to match Tailwinds or get Tailwind myself as well. But also, it's with some Unburden boost, it's faster than Garchomp, so I can potentially burn it with the Will-O-Wisp. And disable was, I guess, the fourth move that I was questioning most. I do like disable and did obviously stick with it because it also helps XURKITREE set up, like, I can disable an earthquake, for example, or it helps Katana set up, I can disable a Flare Blitz on Arcanine and Katana can set up, all that kind of stuff. Disable is a really nice move, but the other move I was thinking about was maybe Sunny Day on there too, just because Ninetales was fairly common and it would help against rain teams as well, which, despite having a Katana and XURKITREE, rain teams like with Golduck Rain, I think are actually quite threatening for this team as well. But there we go. I've waffled on about my team. What are the things that are sticking out to you?
For me, it's the Arcanine, the Z move Arcanine. I use that in Sheffield as well. Z move Arcanine. And I think also the XURKITREE. I didn't know you were that fast of a XURKITREE.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of surprising as well to me.
Yeah, I like being that fast just because there's no question. Like, I know that it is 100% faster than this, and this. Like, I know that if a Lele is faster than my XURKITREE, it's either Choice Scarfed or it's Timid. So like even Modest 252, this XURKITREE outspeeds. So and maybe and the same for Arcanine as well. Obviously, like if it's Adamant Arcanine, max speed, this XURKITREE will outspeed it. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see your spreads in a moment, but I'm getting the impression that my spreads are a lot more offensive, a lot faster than yours. I think you went a bit bulkier with your team.
Yeah, I think that's the main take. I think, yeah. If I just look at this, yeah, I think so.
SMEARGLE, yeah, I didn't really talk about SMEARGLE, did I? But it's the usual. Spore, Fake Out. Follow me in Wide Guard.
Oh, yeah. And I'm also surprised, of course, by your ability of your SMEARGLE.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why would you go for Technician, not Moody?
Yeah. You know what? I've been asked that question a million times.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
Well, actually, I was own Tempo. For most of the season, I was own Tempo, just because that was the go-to ability if you weren't Moody, like in past years. But Swagger is almost non-existent now, and the only thing really that can potentially confuse SMEARGLE is maybe like a Hurricane. But that situation doesn't come about very often. But me using Fake Out on something is, quite often. So I used Technician more because I didn't want Moody than I did want Technician. But Technician was quite nice because it meant that Fake Out actually did a little bit more damage. It meant that a Fake Out on a Tapu Koko put it closer to, like if it had no book, put it a lot closer to Moonblast from Lele range, or a Fake Out from SMEARGLE onto a Kartana puts it very close to Electric Terrain Thunderbolt with no boosts, knocking it out from XURKITREE. So there are some things that actually this Technician boost does help out with, but really the main reason I didn't use Moody is just because of the uncertainty of it. Like, I know, and I've talked to Jamie Boyd, who says that it's objectively the better move, which I disagree with. But I didn't want Moody just because, like, I know it can do nice things, but it can mess up your plan as well. Like, I like to be very certain on what is going to happen when I'm playing a game. I like as much certainty as possible. I don't use moves that they're not accurate. Like all of these moves on the team are 100% accurate, apart from Will-O-Wisp, I think. Yeah. So just throw that in there as an example of how I like to be in control of things. A speed drop or an accuracy drop can really lose you the game. I mean, I know a speed boost or an evasion boost can maybe win you a game, but I like the certainty of knowing what SMEARGLE is going to do than the Moody, really. So I don't know. Like, would you say Moody helped you more than it hurt you?
No. At this tournament, I've gotten the evasion boost 3 times. My opponent just hit all his moves, so that didn't really matter.
Yeah.
I got a speed boost, I think, like 2 or 3 times as well. But I was at a position where I was never going to spore anyway. I was just going to follow me or wide guard.
Yeah.
But the same thing for speed drops. Speed drops didn't matter at some point either because like I was in a position where I would either just follow me or wide guard. I wouldn't click the spore button, so that didn't really matter for me. I did have one moment where my accuracy dropped, and I was planning on going for a spore, so that was a bit scary.
Yeah.
I hit those, so I hit, but it's so that I don't know. It's scary.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the time, especially in testing, it can really save you. It can really save you, especially with the combination of Fight Team Z Cortana. Like if you're in a bad spot, you go for that Z detect. Combine that with Moody, like you just have extra ways, to get out of a bad position.
Yeah.
So I do prefer Moody.
Okay.
But it didn't really help me in the tournament.
The EV spread on Smeargle, I think that was to survive 2 non-boosted Dazzling Gleams from Coco, I think. So that I wasn't like forced to like wide guard on the second one, for example. I mean, talking about Smeargle, I did say obvious, simple Smeargle set, but I don't know. I think these 4 are the right moves for this team, but fake out maybe. I was thinking I could drop maybe for something like Instruct, like. That has its advantages, but fake out I think has more advantages as well. Like I was thinking maybe Instruct because against like hard trick room teams, you're always actually what am I thinking? Like there's always the turn where okay you can put them to sleep turn 1 if they haven't got any terrains or whatever, and you can maybe set up with your XURKITREE or your Katana or whatever next to that maybe, but if it's like a Mimikyu, for example, or something that can take 1 hit from the boosted Pokemon, like a Porygon 2 as well, then the next turn, you're always risking the 1 in 3 wake-up chance. You've got to, hit it once with your setup Pokemon, and then Smeargle can't do anything offensively that second turn. But with Instruct, you can, go for Leaf Blade or whatever, Thunderbolt, and Instruct into the Trick Room Setter and make sure that does go down without risking the 1 in 3 sleep turn. So that's really what I would have wanted Instruct for. But I think Fake Out is, even though there is a Lele on this team, I think Fake Out is probably the better option. But so this is my team. We've been talking about it a little while now, so I'm actually quite excited to look at your version of the team. So the first thing I noticed is it's in the wrong order. But here we go.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at Smeargle first.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I have the same moveset. No fancy EV spread. I don't think I've thought too much about the Smeargle EV spread. I've talked to some people. Everyone was like, "Yeah, I think you should just run 252 HP." So that was what I did.
Yeah.
I tested other moves next to Fake Out because I do agree that is the move that you would replace. I tested Tailwind on it, which was kind of nice, but it was I don't know, it was really situational, and Fake Out is it's a lot of times it's a really safe and good option.
Yeah,
it breaks sashes. It's so good.
Just before we started recording this, we were talking about the Drifblim slot and how important Tailwind was. I was thinking about maybe having Tailwind on Smeargle as well, because that would allow me to swap Drifblim for something else. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I didn't really go through with that. I didn't really test that. But yeah, Fake Out, like you said, it's very important. Your Lele is...
Yeah,
I think
the Lele is exactly the same. Yeah,
exactly the same. Yeah. Okay, so...
yeah, I was looking at that. I mean, you just want max special attack to get the best roll possible on Garchomp. Yeah, and then max speed is also kind of what you want. I thought like opposing Scarflele are kind of annoying, so if there's a chance to go for the speed eye, that would be a good option.
Yeah, I mean there was a game in the Bilbao regional special tournament thing where my opponent had a Scarflele as well, and I think I won the first game. In the second game, it came down to Scarflele versus Scarflele, and like we're both in Moonblast range, but his wasn't max speed, so I was very glad that mine was.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. That really matters at times. I think
I mean it's just that simple really, and also just max special attack as well, because like I said, the roll on Garchomp, but also psychic in psychic terrain rolls on katana and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though there is hidden power fire, I didn't really find myself using that too much.
No, I only clicked that when I'm not sure if a psychic will kill the katana, and it's just a good wing on, and yeah.
So what was that?
But the thing is actually how I started with this team actually was I was testing Zelda's team from Worlds.
Yeah.
And what I really loved was the way that he said that he could use his XURKITREE to set up, like the Tailwind support and the Auroraville support. I thought it was really good, but I didn't really like Ninetales. And I think I saw Jamie Boyd. I saw use Zelda's team with Choice Scarf Lele. So that's and then I remembered your team as well. I think I saw that in Bilbao again. So then I thought, okay, I want to build around Choice Scarf Tapu Lele, the XURKITREE, and the SMEARGLE. I wanted a really bulky XURKITREE. So that's more like Sam Pendalis' style than your style, I think. And because mine lives the element Earthquake, it can live, and it will activate the Super Citrus instead of the regular Citrus. I thought it was really important just to have the extra bulk. Mine also has a really good shot of living a Lele Psychic, which I thought was nice. And I just put enough speed in it to, like, in a tournament, I mean, I would still have to scout, but I'm almost always going to be faster than most Fini and most Arcanine. If they are faster, I'm usually going to assume that they are either like Choice Banded Arcanine or actually like super fast Specs Fini.
That's a really interesting speed stat.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, and like maybe this is just shades of thoughts of VGC, like 15 and 16 when SMEARGLE was really big. But I'm looking at that thinking that is slower than SMEARGLE.
Yeah.
If I played you, I could just support you.
Right. Yeah, I think you would have the advantage in the mirror because you're also generally faster. But I mean, in team building, I thought, how often am I gonna play opposing SMEARGLE? I mean, the Cortana. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the XURKITREE a little bit because my XURKITREE, I've got all these EVs in speed. These EVs are for Jolly Garchomp Earthquake. Like this spread is ancient now. This is I made this like months and months ago. Back when I didn't think too many people were using Adamant Garchomp, which they are, but
it's a thing now.
Back then they weren't so much. So basically, I was in like the theory was with SMEARGLE and XURKITREE, I could be in a position where like if I've got a tail glow up, I'm obviously threatening with Dazzling Gleam. If I'm at max HP, I can quite safely just go for a follow me in front of a Garchomp because in theory I can take one Earthquake. And if they do go for a Tectonic Rage, that'll be redirected into the SMEARGLE, and I'll just knock it out with a Dazzling Gleam. That was the theory. I guess yours does that a bit better as it can take Adamant.
Yeah, a bit safer, I guess, but yeah.
Adamant Earthquakes. But strangely, I did find my XURKITREE outspeeding a few Garchomp as well.
I can imagine.
Can you imagine how good that feels?
Yeah, that must be so nice. Yeah.
Can you imagine having yours if you set it up, if your XURKITREE outspeeds a Garchomp, it just makes the game so much easier. But so I mean, obviously there's ups and downs of our spreads, so this is why it's interesting to compare them. So and with the like you said, the Lele Psychic in Psychic Terrain as well. I think that's a pretty good roll on my XURKITREE to just one-shot it. But this survives most of the time.
It almost all the time. I think if I remember correctly, it's like a 15% chance to kill or like something like that. So it's a really good chance to live.
Okay.
It was about as much as I could go for because I still wanted the right amount of speed to be sure that I outspeed almost every Fini and Arcanine basically. That was kind of my benchmark only for speed.
So this is sort of a gamble sort of speed tier,
right?
Really, then, isn't it?
Yeah. just looking at what everyone's using these days and testing, of course, seeing like in practice I outsped. There were no Finis, no Arcanine that outsped me, except the once in a while banned Arcanine.
Yeah. Like so on Arash's team.
Right. So I felt pretty safe with this speed stat.
Yeah.
In the tournament, I didn't have any Arcanine or Fini outspeed me, so I think it was good for me.
Yeah, that worked out then.
Yeah.
Driftblim. Oh,
Yeah,
you've got
yeah,
timid on your Driftblim.
yeah, I have. Especially for the Drifblim Lille mirror, actually. Um, and also because I want it to be pretty fast, just in case that I sometimes I lead Blim and XURKITREE, for example, and I just want my Drifblim to be faster than XURKITREE for sure, but also faster than a lot of my opponent's Pokemon.
Yeah,
Like
that's
not just in psychic terrain.
yeah, you've got almost no bulk on this Driftblim at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. I didn't want it to just sit there and do nothing, kind of.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that Shadow Ball two-shot a Tapu Koko, just investments like that. And one of the calcs that I went for with this special tech was that I could Moonblast and Shadow Ball like a really bulky Choice Specs Lele, and that would actually pick up the kill.
Yes.
So that was pretty good. Like that's also preparing for like Sam Pandelis' team, the Mendebus Lele team. Like I had the option of going for a Moonblast Shadow Ball turn 1 and just getting rid of his Lele on turn 1. That's just really good.
Yes, and many times I've had people ask me, why are you using a Choice Scarf Lily when you've got Drift?
Right.
Like, it's just, like, again, it's unseen, really. But, I mean, not so much now, because, like, everyone knows the team, but the element of surprise was a big thing. But also, like I said at the beginning, that, like, the team wasn't really built around the combination of Lily and Drifblim, so that's just how it happened. But it does work quite nicely in that you can double into things as well. So, if they lead with Tapu Koko or whatever, you can still just go for a Shadow Ball and a Moonblast, and, more often than not, if it's not Assault Vested, you can just knock it out. So,
Right.
I thought, the combination of these two were really, really nice, even though they have sort of dropped off recently. Like the last usage statistics, Lele and Drifblim and something else, maybe Katana, I think was sort of like one of the ones that had dropped most. So
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, yes, my team going against the grain. But yeah, I mean, I get you with the Drifblim. You do want it to actually be doing something. You've got 142 special attack stat. Mine is 132, so you've got 10 more. So yeah, yours is a bit faster. You know what? I can't actually remember what this bulk does. But I'm sure it does something.
I was wondering that, like the defensive bulk, because I think I was looking at trying to live like a Guard Jump, Rock Slide, and a T-Bolt in psychic terrain, but it was impossible. So I think at that point I just decided, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go offensive. I'm gonna go fast.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't remember what this was for. I mean, I suppose it would have helped out with just general flare blitzes from Arcanines and things like that as well. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 10 points, was it? 10 special attack points below you. So that's not a massive difference. The biggest difference really is the speed, isn't it? But I guess, I mean, I suppose when I made this spread, because again, like the circuitry, this spread is pretty old. I thought with this amount of speed investment in it, I would probably have the faster Drifblim anyway. So obviously not anymore because you've gone timid. But I mean, you don't really see Drifblim too much these days anyway. So there's not too much to creep there really. But
yeah, I think my reason with timid as well was because I know a lot of Drifblim run Sunny Day.
Yeah.
So, and I know that they want to outspeed Golduck, so I like look at the speed that you need to do that, and then went a bit faster just to win the mirror.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, you did like Disable as well. You did want Disable on your Drifblim too.
Oh yeah, that really saved me games. It's great. I think one of the favorite things about this team is just leading Lele Drifblim. Just sacking Lele turn 1 because your opponent will double into it, and you get a free switch into XURKITREE, and you can disable one of the 2 Pokemon and just set up and then just sweep from it.
Yeah, and usually you'll be getting a knockout yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Especially, I think it's still one of the moves that people don't expect at all.
Disable. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it always caught people off guard, and it just messes up their entire game plan.
Yeah, it is a very good move. It is really good. But let's have a look at your Kartana. I think they're very similar.
Yeah, they are. I think I have a little bit less attack, I think, and a bit more special defense. But it's the same moveset.
Yeah, so you've got 100 attack and 148 special defense. I've
Yeah.
got 132 attack, 100 special defense, but I've got 20 in HP as well.
Right.
I know
So you
that.
you kind of switched it up, like attack and special defense, and I did it the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this survives Life Orb, Electric Terrain, Thunderbolt from Timid Coco.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what it survives. And I'm sure it survives Psychic from Lele as well.
Yeah, that will live that.
Um,
I think mine lives a Specs T-Bolt from Coco. I think that was my benchmark.
Yeah.
So that explains a little bit extra bulk.
Yeah. But I mean, otherwise it's just the same, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Katana.
I don't think you miss any KOs with a little bit less attack. But yeah, I think the.
Yeah, I mean, especially with sword stance to supplement as well.
Oh, and what I was thinking when you said that Katana was one of the last mods you added. I think I was looking at the team and like just SMEARGLE, XURKITREE, Lele, and one of the biggest issues was like the Togedemaru Fini Arcanine combination for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think in like these matchups, Kartana is wonderful. It's so good. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
the thing that I love most about that matchup is that you can lead SMEARGLE Kartana. You can try to set up, and a lot of these teams have Celesteela as their answer to Kartana. But the great thing is you don't even need Psychic Terrain in order to spore the Celesteela.
Yeah.
I think that's just great. The combination of SMEARGLE and Kartana, how they work together.
Yeah. I mean, mentioned Marowak a little bit ago about how that was a bit of a problem for the team and we needed Drifblim to hit it, but Togedemaru also was a massive threat for this team. I mean, especially without Kartana. If it's like a Jolly, Togedemaru is faster than Arcanine as well. So I did find Katana was necessary, really, for Togedemaru, maybe more than anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Togedemaru was a pain, but if it wasn't Assault Vested or 50% Berry, I did find that a Shadow Ball and a Psychic Terrain Psychic would knock it out as well.
Yeah, my biggest problem just with that was that they always also had a Specs Fini next to it.
Yeah.
So even if the Togedemaru wasn't on the field, like I would have to predict when he was coming on the field, and the Specs Fini would just do so much damage to the entire team because it's a pretty frail team, of course.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Arcanine is.
Yeah.
I guess that's the one that's got the most differences.
I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah.
So you've gone for the same 4 moves. I thought you had Extreme Speed on yours.
No, I didn't have Extreme Speed.
Maybe it was someone else that I was watching then.
I agree with Helping Hand that it's just way better than. I think it's so good, especially just with the Kartana and with the Lele as well. It just catches people off guard.
Yeah.
But I think the move that I click most is Bulldoze, and because of that, I personally think that Berry for me was the better item, because it's like the only switch in that the team has in a way. It's the one bulky Pokemon, the one really bulky support that you have. So for me, the Berry was really important. I still wanted some attack in it to just make sure that I do good damage, so that a Bulldoze, I have some speed investment as well, so that a Bulldoze plus a Flare Blitz would kill the Tapu Koko. But yeah, the Berry has been really good for me. That's actually also a funny story. I played Jamie Boyd in day 2, and he knows your team.
Yes.
So at some point, he went for. I intimidated his Cloyster. His Cloyster went for a Shell Smash earlier, so it was a +1, and he went for a Rock Blast on my Arcanine. And Jamie actually thought that he had won the match at that point, and then I think it was the 4th Rock Blast. It activated my Berry, and he was looking at me like, "Wait, oh no, I didn't expect this." And then I got a Bulldoze off, and that was like a really big turning point in the game.
Yeah,
I just thought it was funny to mention.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I really know where you're coming from. Just because this team doesn't really have any like bulky Pokemon that can switch around at all. Like, on my 13 and 15 team, there was Cresselia, which was the vaguely bulky one that could, switch around on things. Every year I've had something, maybe one bulky thing just to sort of switch around. And this team hasn't got anything like that. So I can see how Arcanine could fill that role. I can see why you would probably be clicking Bulldoze more as well with your lowered speed Xurkitree than
exactly.
mine too. But yeah, I mean, I did feel like with my Arcanine, I was a bit weaker to Tapu Koko, especially maybe Choice Specs Tapu Koko as well, because I think my Arcanine survives like Electric Terrain, Life Orb, Thunderbolt, but it doesn't survive Gigavolt Havoc, it doesn't survive Specs Thunderbolt, which I'm presuming yours will.
Yeah, mine should live that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not a Gigavolt Havoc, but it will live a Specs T-Bolt.
okay. So that's really interesting. And again, you're not faster than Smeargle here, either.
No, again, no. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's okay. I started playing this format. Maybe that's just a different in mindset.
Yeah.
That I'm not really considering Smurgle when I'm team building.
I've just been scarred by Smeargle.
Maybe.
All right, so 134, and it's 154 attack.
Yeah, I think 76 is like it's the sweet spot. I think in the attack investment. I think when you invest that, it's like you get 2 points higher instead of 1.
So really, I've only got 4 more attack points than your Arcanine.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, only 4 more.
Because you're jolly, of course. Right. Yeah.
But yours has got all this bulk as well. So really, I mean, if the speed isn't an issue, then this bulk would be greatly appreciated, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean the speed is only annoying versus Tapu Lele mostly.
Yes.
Because that's the one thing that when it outspeeds, it does so much damage.
Yeah, I mean if I was using your version of this team, then I would be a little bit scared of Tapu Lele just because your Xurkitree and your Arcanine are both possibly slower. I mean very very probably slower than offensive Lele's.
Yeah, for sure.
So and that's why I did like the Z move, the Fire MZ on Arcanine as well, so that there is that option just to blast it away kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see that as well. And I can also see that it's just a good option to have another Pokemon do some damage, like not just support, but also have some significant damage. But I think still my Arcanine is I don't know. I think with the investment that I have, I still make sure that it's an offensive threat on the field.
Yeah. So really, I mean, the only differences are Moody. I mean, the spread on Smeargle is not really that important. So Moody on Smeargle. Lele is exactly the same.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Drifblim, yours is a bit faster, a bit more offensive. Mine's a bit bulkier. Although I can't remember why.
That's so weird. That's like the one Pokemon where I didn't go with bulk and you went with bulk. Again, I just look at how I'm 1 point slower than Smeargle.
Yeah, you are, aren't you? I mean, not that it really matters with Drifblim because it can't really do anything anyway. And yeah, Katana is almost the same. So I guess the biggest difference is, aside from Moody, is your Xurkitree and your Arcanine speed stats. And just that they've got 50% berries, they are a bit bulkier. When I've got a Citrus Berry, good old Citrus Berry on Xurkitree, and I've got the Z move on Arcanine.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
So, well, there we go.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I've been testing a lot of stuff. Like I think at some point I had 5 months basically, and then without the Cortana I think was one of my latest additions, and the Drifblim. And I've played around with so much stuff, like Fling Whimsicott, Fling King's Rock Whimsicott. It's just it was a great supporter, but Drifblim is just, when I tried it after I saw you use it, it's so consistent in this team.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, it didn't make a lot of sense with a Scarf Lele, but a lot of the times you just bring only your Scarf Lele, so that it makes sense for sure. And it's just that the Drifblim it fixes so much hyper offensive matchups.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of teams that were influenced by my team, like I think Raikou in Brazil and Boyd at Worlds as well, used Pheromosa instead. Well, as well as Lele, but used Pheromosa on this team, like maybe in the Katana slot. But I don't know. The thing I like with Lele is that it, with the Scarf, like I said, it combines the role of disrupting the terrain and outspeeding and potentially one-shotting Garchomp. With Pheromosa, you've sort of got to bring both Pheromosa and Lele to do both of those jobs, where maybe you would want like both the Xurkitree or the Arcanine or something else as well. So And that's why I like the scarf on the Lele. But yeah, I mean, like I've been saying, the Lele and the Drifblim weren't originally put together. It just kind of fell that way. But
Yeah.
it's they definitely work well. They definitely work very well together. So I mean, I did say at the very beginning of this that okay, I've been using this team for really most of the season, and I kind of feel a little bit like the Gravity team in 2016 with this. In that I've been using it so much that I don't really think about the plays that I've been making too much with it. Like the concentration is sort of gone with this team for me, just because I'm so bored of using it. You know, I mean, it is a fun team to use, but just because I've used it so many times. So for me, leading, I really like only have 3 different combinations of what I lead. Normally, I lead either SMEARGLE and XURKITREE. I lead either SMEARGLE and Kartana, or I lead Lele and Drifblim. But I mean, sometimes I might, like on a very rare occasion, I might lead something else. Like I think one round in London, I led with SMEARGLE and Lele as well. But I noticed your game on stream that I went and watched back. In the 3rd game, I think you led with Arcanine and XURKITREE, did you?
Yeah, I did.
And
Yeah.
like I was like, wow, mind blown there. You can actually lead with different things. Like it's a bit of a breath of fresh air really to see someone else using it. So
Right.
like do you
I've,
find
I've,
yourself leading different things, or is it those 3 that I listed normally for you too?
it's normally those, but I do lead Arcanine and XURKITREE actually a lot as well. Just because with the bulldoze, with the helping hand, you just got so many options. And it's sometimes it's a bit more safer than leading SMEARGLE.
Yeah.
I just feel like sometimes I don't really like bringing SMEARGLE. For some matchups. Most matchups I do, but I don't know. Arcanine XURKITREE it's just a generally really safe lead, I think.
Yeah, maybe
What
you're
I
safer
also
leading like that because it's a bit bulkier.
Yeah, for that I think that helps as well.
Yeah, you are
like they're both super citrus, so they can both take a hit for sure.
yeah, you are you're safer getting the bulldoze off. Whereas, like if I led with Arcanine, I would always be at risk of potentially being one shot by, you know, like a Sacred Sword and a Thunderbolt by you know, those 2 sort of thing,
Right.
and just losing it straight away. So yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see how this all works together.
Yeah.
So
what I also noticed, like I think I've played more Bulu than I expected as well.
Like there were people playing a lot of weird teams, and there were some matches where I just led SMEARGLE Drifblim, because I think there was a Scarf Nihilego and a Bulu team and with a Persian and stuff like that, and I never led that before, like a SMEARGLE and a Drifblim, because it just makes no sense like versus most matchups, but in some matchups it's so good. Because I just threatened both the Tailwind, the Spore, I threatened to follow me, and even if he kills me, you just get in the XURKITREE again.
yeah,
I mean, usually he would lead Scarf Lele, but the thing was he had a Scarf Nihilego, so then I had to improvise.
yeah. Like normally I wouldn't bring both Drifblim and SMEARGLE, but I have led SMEARGLE and Drifblim a few times in the past. But yeah, it's I don't know, like yeah,
it's interesting. It's like the meme lead, you know. It's
yeah, it's like the lead that just can't do anything. But
yeah.
But I mean, you know, there's options where you can switch in the Lele and everything as well. But
the fun thing about not leading Drifblim with that's also what I did sometimes. I led Drifblim and XURKITREE together, which was also interesting because that also gave me options to see what he led, and then I could still switch out Drifblim like without losing its seed, for example. But I could also still set up a Tailwind versus some leads, or
yeah,
that was also interesting.
I mean, with this speed, you would be faster than you know, Mandibuzz and
exactly
other stuff as well. Things that might be able to taunt you, perhaps. I mean, we're going on a little bit now, but I mean, at the beginning as well, we talked about the Nature Power Whimsicott, which I find, in my opinion, that is the worst matchup for this team. Do you agree there?
I think it depends on the rest of the team. I think my worst matchup. Okay, well, I'll just talk about 2 losses that I had in the tournament, which I thought were really bad matchups. The first one was Alex Gomez, and I think what's really bad matchup is Substitute, Tapu Bulu, with the Z move and HP Fire. It's a really common set right now, but the thing with that set is it one-shots like the entire team. It one-shots XURKITREE, it one-shots Cortana. Like the only thing it doesn't one-shot is the Arcanine.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
and you can't spore it even. So I think that's super threatening, that team.
Yeah.
He also had, and the thing with Alex Gomez, like I had such a tough time versus him because he also had a fast taunt Mimikyu next to it. So that was like, oh, that was such a horrible matchup.
Yeah, I can.
So I think stuff like that is
I can
pretty
understand that.
difficult.
Yeah, the fast Mimikyu with taunt is again a massive problem for this. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bulu as well, I think, still. Like,
Yeah, I think Bulu is a bit of an issue, definitely. I mean, the thing with this team is like I feel that this is probably the least solid best team I've made in a format, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I get what you mean.
like my 13, 14, 15, 16 teams that I would all, you know, bank on myself to win a game playing. I think I'd be more confident winning with them than I would if I had to play a VGC 17 game with this. So I don't know
Right.
if that is just VGC 17 or if it is the team.
I think it is 17. Like I was building a lot of stuff before London. I was trying out so much stuff, and I just couldn't find a team that had a good matchup versus a lot of the common things.
Yeah.
So at some point, I came back to your 6, and I think that this team, the beauty of this team is I don't think it has the best matchups versus a lot of the common stuff at the moment. But what I do like is that I feel like if I play this team well, I can beat almost anything, and I think that's really important. Like I don't think it was the call, or it's not meta breaking at all, but if you're playing well with this team, you can almost beat anything.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, I think Arash's team with the Nature Power Whimsicott, I think that is very, because I'm pretty sure he had Scarf Guard Jump as well, which I find was a big problem for this team too. Like if you lose your Drifblim, for example, or lose your Smeargle with Wide Guard, a Scarf Guard Jump will just run through this team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, and with the Nature Power Whimsicott as well, I found that to be really hard. But yeah, fast Mimikyu with taunt. Like Togedemaru, like when I played in the Anaheim Open at Worlds, I'm pretty sure my only losses were to teams with Togedemaru on them. So
Right.
like Katana. Maybe I just wasn't using Katana properly. But I found Togedemaru to be a big problem. Marowak as well, like we've been saying before, if that's supported well, can be a pain for this team too. But I mean, I would never take Drifblim if they had a Trick Room option. But
Oh yeah.
most of
Right.
the time, if they've got a Marowak, they do have a Trick Room option. So that's the sort of dilemma there, really. But I don't know, if you get your Circuitry to +3 or Katana to +2, like a Leaf Blade or a Dazzling Gleam will still do a decent chunk of damage to it. With my Fire Z move on Arcanine, I could do maybe 40% or something to it as well too. So you can sort of chip away at it with these attacks. And Lily obviously can hit it very hard as well.
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, I don't think that Marowak is the biggest issue. Just because you can follow me stuff with Smeargle, and then Flare Blitz, like it does like 40% to itself already.
Yeah.
And then you're even at a point that even your Cortana can beat the Marowak, which is always kind of funny.
Yeah.
I think two of my other losses were against well-played Mandibus teams, like Mandibus with Garchomp together, like the Z move Garchomp and Mandibus. It's just, I think that's still scary to play around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're all. I think that it's all winnable matchups basically. I think you got the tools with Smeargle, XURKITREE, to always beat a bad matchup.
Yeah. I mean, the only other thing that I was maybe considering was, I guess, in the Katana slot, but I never would because Katana is so important for things like Gigalith and Mudsdale. But I was thinking maybe Garchomp in that slot, just because Garchomp does cover things like Togedemaru, it does cover Marowak, and the things that XURKITREE can't deal with too well. But Katana, I just felt was better for that slot, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cortana, yeah. I think Cortana is one of the most important Pokemon on the team.
Yeah. Okay, so we've actually been talking for the best part of an hour now. So I hope you guys have enjoyed us talking about these two teams and how they've been put together and all the rest of the differences between them as well, which I found very interesting. But hopefully, if you still got time, we're going to record another video for Thursday that'll go up where we're going to be using both of these teams on Showdown, just to, I guess, say goodbye to them. We've had London now, which was really the last major tournament of the VGC 17 format. So we'll just do a few games on Showdown using both of the versions, and we'll see how they go and have a bit of fun with them and see how each other's team works a little bit as well, which I think will be quite interesting.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's see which version gets more wins.
Oh, you're gonna make it a competition now?
Oh, no, I'm getting a bit nervous, I think.
All right, and so thanks a lot, guys, for watching this. Thank you for joining me, Rob, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. So goodbye now. Goodbye for now.
Bye.